Good morning, afternoon, evening or night, whenever you're watching this, welcome. About a week ago I got a message from Fleur of Mudlarking with Kit Caboodlers saying they'd be stopping off in this area on a bit of a tour and would I like to meet up for a lark. Oh, absolutely, of course I would. They're wonderful, kind and lovely people, a joy to lark with, and as nice in real life as they appear in their videos. I presented a list of places and the likelihood of a level of finds to be found in them, and even though this place has been picked over many times by many mudlarks, including myself, since the last high waters of winter many moons ago, we still agreed to meet here for a nice summertime wade in the river with glass-bottomed buckets. Fingers crossed there'll be enough good things to find and that everyone here and everyone watching has a good time. We met here once before, more than 2 years ago now, in a brief lull between two savage winter storms and a third. The river was very high and far too dangerous to wade in, the cliff face was inaccessible, and the beach downstream was mostly still underwater. Today is very different. This portion of the riverbank hasn't been easily accessible before, at least not on any of the days I visited. My first find, a little button, think it's mother of pearl. I don't actually want this, intact though it may be. I'm pulling it out of the mud so it's much more visible as a marker for this, which looks like it may well be most, if not all, of a ceramic doll's head, and I'm going to send Kate this way. Think she'll appreciate the opportunity to dig it out more than I would, and then maybe she'll enjoy piecing it all together again. Don't know what that is. Thought it might be plastic soil pipe, but now I think it's ceramic. And yeah, no idea. If I remain interested in it, I'll come back and dig it out, or I'll forget about it as all the other things to find here grab my attention. A rare appearance of Oscar. Apparently he's developed a liking for computer games and doesn't really mudlark much anymore, so I feel honoured that he's joined us today. I do hope that he has fun. No such need for hope with regards Kate and Fleur. I can see quite clearly that they're enjoying this place, even if it's the least productive time of year here for finds. There are words on that there piece of pottery. Sorry to anyone who was expecting me to have sorted a better way of filming with the bucket by now. Maybe by the next time out with it. And there goes my bag floating with me downstream. Well, that should have been predictable. I was just trying to hold on to too many things. Oscar kindly managed to stop my bag, and now I'm back on land where both Kate and Fleur have finished searching and just cleaning up the lead that I can see. Part of an old battery, and this. In the style of a pipkin, but glass. Kate and Fleur have great eyes for spotting small things, so I don't expect to find anything much where they've been. Some lead pipe. So my finds today will probably be a bit sparse, because I'm actually going to actively encourage them to have first crack at every productive spot I know. The metal patches, the places I often find marbles, the riffle that catches anything interesting from the upstream third of the cliff face, and the underwater clay plateau, which might not actually be underwater today. I don't know if that's going to be a detriment to the video I eventually make from today's footage, but I absolutely do want Kit Caboodlers' experience today to be as enjoyable as can be. Oh, this river is very low, been like this for weeks now. It's not forecast, but I think there might be some rain here later this afternoon, and that would be so very welcome. On the plus side, it being so low does mean I get to see all the bits of lead I missed on previous visits. My bag is going to be very heavy by the end of today. On the downside, it can't be good for the fish. The algae that's starting to colonize the edges thrives in low oxygen water, and fish do not. Picking up the lead, and no, actually, it's a good rock to build a pile upon, so I can move unencumbered for a little while. Brass bolt and copper something. Ooh, actually, is this a bus bar? Might be, and okay, that's nothing special, but last time I found one I didn't even know the word. Now this is my kind of clump. It's quite astonishingly covered in bits of metal, and the obvious origin of it is as a collection of things pulled out of the river by mudlarks and not chosen to be taken. So there's unlikely to be coins or jewellery or old lead toys here, but there are brass things, interesting things, maybe an old iron key, maybe other interesting things hidden beneath mundane things, and I will clear it after Kate and Fleur have had their pick of it. It's raining. Not a lot, but every drop helps, and that looks far more interesting underwater. I think it's part of the manhole covers around. The sample size is of course far too small to suggest correlation, but next time there's a drought here I would love Kit Caboodlers to visit again. That's 2 for 2 mudlarking meetups that have attracted the rain. Ooh, the metal clump has been abandoned. Time for the clear up. Lead, lots and lots of lead, and brass. Can I fit any more into my hand? Maybe one more piece before I need to go and get my bag. If I do find anything interesting here, I'll show it. Kate's found a lead toy figure. Shh, they're filming.
Would have been a motorbike, maybe, or a horse. He's sort of got a pack.
Not a motorbike. Nobody rides a horse like that.
No one wears blue. I don't know.
So much water going in my welly.
Oh, he's holding a bucket though. Can you get him, Oscar? Get him.
And another one.
Oh, I think he's gone then.
Oh, it's a drummer. Yeah, there's a coin or something. It's a drummer. Oh, there's another one. There's another one. There's another one. Oh, Oscar found some typeface. Oh, really? Yeah. What letter is it? Do you know? It's an L.
It's got no hair.
L typeface. Yeah, there's like I see something brown under my foot. What is that? Too much hair. Can you see what's that? Where? Coin. Coin. Oscar found a coin. Okay. It's really big. Yeah, that's this metal thing. What's that?
Might be a
penny. Penny? No, it's magnetic. It's a magnet. Ooh.
So in the prime metal patch spot, and just in the last few minutes, they have found coins, lead toys and typeface, and that last one is the only one I haven't found in abundance here, or indeed anywhere. I don't remember finding any, and if I haven't, then it's got to be a B-list bucket list mudlarking find for me, hasn't it? Maybe I'll find some today in this patch of metal, so I will gather all the pieces of lead I can see, root through the rest, and maybe find some typeface or something else of interest. Organic looking, I mean shaped like the leg of a toy horse maybe. Ooh, that's really quite something. It's the tiniest little bird, made of lead alloy and shaped like a dove, I think. Part of a barnyard playset is my guess, and think this must be my star find of a day. I think Kate and Fleur were suitably impressed by the little bird, much more exuberant exclamations of wonder than you'll ever hear from me, and that's why I enjoy watching their videos, and indeed watching them find stuff in real life, a genuine delight in some of the things they find. Not all of the grey things here are lead, there's ceramic and dust-covered things, and the dust, I'll be carefully trying to not breathe it in. Nothing particularly interesting since the bird, a copper square nail, a twisted bit of brass wire, and a brass watch winder maybe, and a lot of lead. Oh, that might be something. It's a leg, but I don't think it's like any lead toy human leg I've seen before. They're almost always straight, or bent even more if they're riding a horse or a motorbike, but this one looks like it's running, or about to kick a football maybe. Unusual rather than interesting. Another copper square nail. Ooh, and is that? It is, a piece of typeface, a lowercase I. Awesome. An egg cup, which would be nothing very much of a find if I hadn't recently watched a YouTube video of somebody harvesting gold off some gilded pottery, and this has a thin line of plating, which, because it's quite old, is likely quite a bit thicker plating than is used on modern pottery. I think I'm going to start collecting some of the pieces I find, and maybe make a similar video one day. Aside from the metal patch area, there's not many spots that have had much movement since the winter, and in this upstream third of a cliff face, not much movement at all in the last few years. The river is constantly, subtly changing its course, building up bits here and there, cutting out bits elsewhere. I do wonder though if it's perhaps done for good with this upstream third of a cliff face, and if so it'll slowly collapse into a relatively stable hillside. The middle section though, and the downstream end, I think the river looks likely to cut a hefty way through the dumpsite there, maybe even as far as the road beyond. bit of copper pipe. Well, it happened. I got into some water that turned out to be a little bit deeper than my chest waders, so now I have several pints of water soaking down through my clothes and sloshing around by my feet. It's actually quite pleasant. I was feeling a little warm and now I'm nicely cooled. And the metal patch is vacated now, so I'll go and put my small handful of finds in my bag and see if they've left anything interesting among the not very interesting stuff that I'll still take. Big block of brass. Now that's a tasty morsel. Not at all sure what it once was, nor what it may one day become, but I'm happy to take it. And some odd bits of lead and copper wire and verdigris. I think that's brass wire. Much rarer find than copper wire, and I've got a use for it. The sun has come out, which changes the visibility and warrants another look over the riverbed that everyone has already searched. Lead-shielded wire with algae and a stick. A sticky stick. In the mid-distance, a dog walker. In the further distance, another YouTuber. At least I guess so from the GoPro he's wearing strapped to his chest. Maybe a fishing channel. Not the sort of thing I'd choose to watch, though I do love watching the fish in the places I wade. Baby fish. I've probably scared off most of the bigger fish from this stretch of river. Bit of copper wire. Well, sure the camera can't identify those people at this distance, but any closer and it might be able to. I try to avoid that happening, so I guess I'll look elsewhere. Ooh, solid brass. It has a little finial, which is kinda cute. I'm not at all sure what this was a part of, but it could theoretically become almost anything. I guess it's that time when I say, suggestions for projects for my forge are most welcome. The more outlandish and silly, the better. Guessing it's washed down from upstream. I don't think most parents would really want their toddler messing about here. Central frame of a clock, or something else that used clockwork. A gauge or dial maybe. Some wire. Nope, a leaf. And some algae. Does it make the video much less enjoyable when I'm not finding much? Brass winder, maybe off a pocket watch, and endless little lumps of lead. This river is moderately acidic, with tannins from peat moorland far upstream, which dissolves lead quite a bit faster than most conditions. I've certainly noticed a big difference between the lead-shielded wire that's still on the cliff face and the stuff that's been in the water for a while. It degrades rapidly and falls apart much more than just tumbling in the river would account for. The algae as well absorbs it when it grows in contact with it, and the fish eat algae, and birds and otters and people eat the fish. Part of the fishing rod. I see a lead toy horse. A bit muddy, let's give it a rinse. Not much left of the rider, and the horse isn't in good shape either. Oh well, into the pile. This too, some lead-shielded wire. I've just found this fork, which I suspect was left behind by Fleur or Kate. Surely though doesn't everybody love bent and useless cutlery? How could anyone not? They're useless for so many things. Lead and lead alloy from an Excite battery. Copper square nail, missing the head, but quite the straightest, pointiest square nail that I've ever found. It's a bit of an oddity. I like it. Some brass, fragment of a bell I think, bike bell maybe, or hotel reception style of bell. And, yep, lead. It's going to be fragments and nuggets here, and I guess I'll talk if I find anything of actual interest. Little mother-of-pearl button. Strange how these are quite commonly to be found in the metal patches. Trigger warning, I may be somewhat bleeding. Just a small injury, but means I shouldn't put this hand into the water for the time being, so it can take a turn holding the camera.
There's so much metal in here.
Just saw a flash of blue, a kingfisher I think. Only place I've ever seen them, this river. Kate's shooting B-roll footage, and I think that means that they're just about done. Think I am too. We've exhausted most of the spots worth searching, and Kate and Fleur and Oscar have all found some great little finds. I found one great little find. I don't mind at all that I haven't found much. I've still got a bag full to carry out of here. One last look for my records at the overhead power lines, the static reference point for keeping track of how far the river has cut and the cliff face has crumbled. A roundup time or two, and an unboxing. Mudlarking for me is more often than not about solitude. I like immersing myself in nature, the sights, the sounds and the smells, the feeling of wading through running water and just looking for things. It facilitates an ability that I'm usually lacking to switch off much of my conscious mind. Not so easy with other people larking alongside. There are certain people though who will always be able to just ask, and I will get up, get out and meet up and lark with them, no matter what the weather. Whether the weather be a short window between storms, or after weeks of dry and dusty drought. Kit and Caboodlers are such people. It was no lie to say that they really are as lovely in real life as they appear on film, and they get so much happier and more excited about finds than I do, and that is really a pleasure to be in the presence of. That might be part of why I stood back, encouraging them to search every productive spot I know of there before I did. Part of it might have been that we didn't get to the cliff face the last time they visited, so I wanted them to have the best possible experience of that site, a site that's already given me so much. Whatever the reasoning, it did make editing this video a difficult one of the toughest in a long time, and that's part of why it's so late. Another part is I put my back out and was incapacitated for quite a while, and that flowed neatly into a protracted heat wave. I do not deal well with heat. Anyway, it's almost out now, so the finds. This pottery is part of a bowl for an upside-down dessert. Can't figure out exactly which dessert, but the last line suggests it could be served hot or cold, so not blancmange. Maybe something like sticky toffee pudding, or a simple sponge. Found some nice bottle stoppers. It's a long time since I found a brown glass one. It's got a little bit of glass sickness. I was thinking about the possibility of including a bottle stopper or two into a video of tumbling all sorts of glass, though I do find the top and bottom parts separated occasionally, so would be worried that would happen. Think I'll try with some that are already in poor condition. Maybe this brown one would qualify. I found a nice little black button, and I think it might be carved jet. I've sketched out the pattern that's on it. It looks not really like a pattern I'd expect on a morning button. I like it regardless of its intended purpose. The little bird, so cute. It's finds like this that make it seem kinda worthwhile, sorting through and gathering up all the little nuggets of lead. I think it's supposed to be a dove, and I think it was made as part of a barnyard set, perhaps to sit on top of the barn. Very little interesting about the other pieces of metal on display here, but some of these things will be kept untouched for crafting with, some will go into the forge box awaiting the fire, and some will go through a cycle in my rock tumbler. I'm pleasantly surprised at how well they came out. This little pile was from my collection of majority verdigris things. They were crumbling at the edges and looked like there wasn't much viable metal remaining in them. 30 hours of tumbling resulted in some beautiful pieces that make me want to incorporate them in craft projects. Aside from a little over 10 kilograms of lead and the rest of a bag filled with plastic, neither of which have made it into the roundup display, that's my finds from the day. I've put a link to Kit and Caboodlers' video from the day in the description. They found some pretty cool things, including silver. Now, I'd like to do a bit of an unboxing, if that's okay. A few months ago, on a trip to Whitby, I walked around the headland to nearby Saltwick Bay and did a spot of fossil hunting. It wasn't ideal filming conditions, well, more that I didn't really feel like filming, and I was in learning mode, talking to some of the more experienced fossil hunters there and learning what to look for and what to avoid. I helped someone retrieve a nice stone bedecked with belemnite fossils, lifting a moderately large boulder, just enough for him to get it out from underneath. I don't think that's why he offered to send me some prepared ammonite fossils. I think we just got along well, had a nice chat, became friends I guess, and this is what he sent me. Great timing, there's somebody knocking at the door. Okay, just for weekly food shop delivery, which I'd completely forgotten was due round about now. Getting there, it's well packaged. There's a letter. I'll read that off camera. I don't get many letters these days. It's always nice if I don't absolutely have to reply. I'm really bad at that. Nope, not there yet. And here we go. First fossil out of a box. Oh, that's nice. Beautiful, actually. Nicely revealed from the rock, and that's something I'd quite like to try doing myself sometime. I found 2 nice ammonite fossils while I was there, one still mostly stuck within the rock. Ooh, wow. That's awesome. I've only ever found pieces of ammonite fossils this large, probably walked over many without realizing. And the last in this box, 2-in-1 piece of rock matrix. That's really quite a lovely piece. I bet it takes some skill to do this without damaging the fossils. One of them looks slightly pyritized. This is one of the ones I found, the one that really needs to be gently cut out of a rock. The middle exposed part is very nicely pyritized, a sort of bronze golden sheen made of iron pyrite. It doesn't seem to stretch to the outer rim of the shell, but perhaps it's worn off, and careful application of an air chisel might reveal the shell to be almost fully pyritized. That would be nice. I don't have an air chisel, but once I've gotten an air compressor for other projects, it's a short step to getting one. I think the last piece, the one with 2 fossils, might be the one he said he found in Lyme Regis. The rest are from near Whitby, and the fossils in Saltwick Bay date mostly from the Lower Jurassic period, which is either 201.3 to 174.1 million years ago, or about 6 or 7,000 years if your belief's a Christian creationist. Not sure about other religions, and I present no judgment about which may be the truth. I only know that I know very little with any certainty, and established fact is an often shifting landscape that has changed considerably in my short lifetime. 2 beautiful specimens. Oh, how I wish that time travel was possible. I'd love to wade and see these beautiful creatures swimming in shallow seas. Another beautiful example. And one that's a bit incomplete. There is a bit still within the rock matrix, but I guess the fact it's incomplete means you make a judgment call and decide whether or not to carry on revealing. I like that it's still a bit inside the rock. Thank you so much, Darren, if you happen to be watching. This is a wonderful gift. His address was in the letter, so I'm going to send him a small selection of the sort of fossils I find around here, namely Lepidodendron stigmaria, not so much as an exchange, just gifts. I hope you've enjoyed this unboxing. And now back to the windowsill for another roundup. In the last video before this one, I went to a site that's now being turned into a nature reserve, and I said at the end of that video that that site was dead to me now as a mudlarking site. I was going to leave it for nature and hoped that bottle diggers would too. And then I got an invitation from local mudlarking legend Amanda Bell, who was in contact with the owner of the site, and she asked if I would like to meet with him and discuss the future of the site. So I did, and it turns out he's a really nice guy, and quite happy for me to do my type of mudlarking there, pulling the metals and plastic out of a river and the stream, and so I shall, maybe once or twice a year, and I'll attend some unfilmed group meetups there to try and help minimise the visibility of the site from the road, so as to make it a little less likely that inquisitive walkers, who might just possibly be potential bottle diggers, might find it. They've been naughty there, some of those bottle diggers, deliberately cutting the roots of trees and making them topple. That's not really on. There's a tree preservation order on the whole woodland, and there's a tree inspector who decides if felled trees have to be removed or not. The liability for that lies with the landowner. It would cost him about £2,000 for a mandated removal of a single tree that a bottle digger had toppled hunting for bottles, which they might sell for £10, £20, £100 maximum from that site. Anyway, Amanda Bell, bless her, she's been picking up things on her mudlarking outings that she thought I might like for several years now, and finally on that day we were in the same place at the same time, and she handed over a big heavy bag of stuff. So here it is. There's figurines for Fimo, a plastic Action Man head and ceramic bunny ears, which are currently cradling quite the creepiest little doll I've seen in a while, one arm still dangling pathetically by its side. I love it. A few more fragments of dolls and figurines which may well be passed on to Kate and Fleur of Mudlarking with Kit Caboodlers. There's a bell, some buckles, a chain, some clockwork, a brass compact, curtain ring and cutlery. Amanda knows what I like. Now, which direction should I take? Okay, there's some finials and drawer and door handles. Moving up for now, there's a few parts of old gas lamps and early electric light fittings, a selection of taps, some for gas and some for water. Some of them are quite beautiful to me. There's a gauge of something, says it's for lights, from Glover & Co. London. I like it, but don't know what I could do with it besides stripping all the clockwork from the back of it. And I do have a friend who's into restoring things and might be watching. If you are, Billy, and if this is of interest, let me know and I'll put it in the box with the batteries I'm saving up for you. There's some nice nuggets of aluminium. Not sure if I'm going to be melting aluminium or not. I do have a big box full of it, but only one crucible so far, which I don't want to contaminate too much. Brass and bronze and copper only in it so far. I do have a few nuggets like this, a copper one I made by pouring molten copper into water, and a bronze one I found in a river, some more aluminium ones that I found too. Maybe I should start a collection. Some pewter, always welcome. No idea what I'm going to do with it though, because looking into it, I can dissolve the tin from it in sodium hydroxide, but you can't just electrolyse tin from the resulting sodium stannate, and the tin component is really what I want from this for casting bronze. I don't mind doing a bit of chemistry, but I don't have the kit to really do all the things I want, and it's not likely that I ever will. Oh well, lots and lots of bits of copper and brass, and they at least don't require a chemistry lab. Fire is enough. Or glue if a piece makes it into a craft project. There was a fair amount of lead in the bag, and that stayed outside and went straight into the big box of lead that's now so heavy it's immovable. I'm really going to have to do something with it soon. I know scrapping channels film their trips to the scrapyards and say how much money their metals were sold for. This is not a scrap channel, but should I do such a video, it would be short. It's only lead and possibly pewter that I'd be turning in. There were 3 pieces of lead that I'll be keeping. This is one of them. A toy tank, early design, might be old, rare and desirable for collectors. Please do let me know if you know more about it. Moving on, there's some copper discs, industrial rather than coins. A brass fishing sinker, didn't know they were ever made of brass, but I kind of approve. If you have to fish, then better for the environment to use brass than lead. Another bit of lead is the core of this bullet, kind of a theme here with the brass remains of a shotgun shell and a pot metal fragment of a Lone Star toy gun. Up a bit there's a sizable number of brass rings. I never find many of these. Amanda must have found them all already. 2 little cute bone rings. I don't find many of these either. And now my favourite 3 things that Amanda found and thought I'd like. Oh, I do very much so like these. There's the tiniest little brass holder for something. There's no pills so thin, no cigarettes so small, no match or business card, no, so I think it must be a pin holder, though it's very small even for that. This vaguely toilet seat shaped piece of brass, it's a hinged cover for quite the largest escutcheon I've seen. The key that fit this must have been a big old iron thing, and I do wonder if this is perhaps very old. I'm not sure, but I might take it along to the Portable Antiquities Scheme Find Surgery sometime, if Amanda can tell me where she found it. The 3rd piece of lead is in this, a brass-coated pendulum, quite likely from a large case clock, either a grandfather clock or a grandmother clock. Think that's the more likely of the 2. Thank you so much, Amanda, for a wonderful array of finds. It is so nice to know you and to know that you think of me when you find such things. That's about it, I think. I do hope that you've enjoyed this video. If you have, and if you'd like to, then by all means express appreciation in whatever way suits you, whether that be by just watching my videos, pressing the like button or the dislike button, the subscribe button and the bell icon, writing a comment, replying to somebody else's comment, sharing a link to my videos on another platform. It all helps. A big thank you to all of the kind people who've donated through Ko-fi, Super Chats during premieres, super thanks on video pages and purchases from my Amazon wishlists. I am always very grateful. Finally, I hope that you're looking after yourself and loved ones as best you can. Thank you all very much for watching, and for now, goodbye.